Well, good morning, everybody, and welcome to the Farzy Show here at the Steven Singer Studios. Apologize for the tardiness, little internet action, little internet unfortunate. I don't know. Wasn't working. And now it's working, so here we are. Welcome into the show. My name is Marc Farzy. Nice to have you along here for the ride. We got some Phillies conversation to get into today because they just won their fourth in a row, and Bryce Harper just continues to kill baseballs for the Phillies, which, yes, is fun, which, yes, is exciting, but I'm not jumping back in. Not getting on that. I'm not getting on that all optimism train. No. I'm simply going to enjoy my favorite baseball team winning baseball games because why not enjoy that? I'm just going to enjoy it with the caveat that they're not going to make the playoffs. But you know what? If you're rooting to be wrong, as I like to do so many times when making a prediction, but then still wanting my teams to do well, I'm going to go ahead and root to be wrong. And that's the status I'm in right now. That's the state I'm in right now, at least. Good times. The Eagles had practice yesterday. Landon Dickerson participated in practice. They got to be down to 53 men on the roster by 4 p.m. today. Tuesday. Hugh's Day. They got to be down to 4 p.m. Down to 53 by 4 p.m. today on this fine Hughes Day morning because Hugh Lamont Douglas III will be joining us coming up in just a couple of minutes on the show. I will tell you this right out of the gate. Hugh does not see the Gardner Minshew thing as I do. Hugh looks at this as a real legit threat to Jalen Hurts as the starting quarterback of this football team. And that short leash that we thought Jalen Hurts was on with Deshaun Watson, and even if it wasn't Deshaun Watson, it was maybe 3 first-round picks next year where the Eagles could get whatever quarterback they would want in the draft if they choose to covet a quarterback in that spot, which they probably would. No, it's not just that anymore. It's not just Deshaun Watson. It's not just 3 first-round picks next year. It's now Gardner Minshew being in the backfield. It's not even Joe Flacco anymore. Excuse me, Joe Flacco. It's Gardner Minshew as the guy threatening for the number 1 spot in this Eagles roster, for the number 1 quarterback spot, that is, on this Eagles roster. So they practiced yesterday. They addressed the media yesterday. A lot of Eagle stuff that we'll get to as the show goes on today. We're even going to let you hear from, this is pretty interesting, Miles Sanders on a couple of different things. One, he talks about meeting Gardner Minshew. All right, fine. The other, he talks about really, it's not so much what he's talking about as opposed to what he's doing. It's him and Boston Scott. And if you haven't seen this yet, those guys look like they're having some fun. We'll just say that. One was crashing the other's news conference by really not saying anything, just kind of hang out in the background. We'll show you that a little bit later on in the show. And then I thought this was just fascinating. I always love the behind-the-scenes looks. And Boston Scott's 49-yard touchdown reception where he just juked members of the Jets out of their own jock straps on the way to the end zone on his little out pass from Joe Flacco. He takes you through not just the play in itself, but the week leading up to, like basically a week in between games. He tells you the reason they dialed up that play for him to try to score on that 49-yard touchdown reception. It's fascinating, really, what he takes you through. But I do want to start it off with this. Oh, and one last thing. Miles Sanders also takes behind the scenes a little bit as well, because Miles Sanders, I think, had a bit of a Freudian slip when he was asked about Nick Sirianni and game planning for their first ever game under Nick Sirianni, their first ever regular season game under Nick Sirianni. I think there's a little bit of a Freudian slip where he was thinking one thing, said it, and then said, well, maybe that's not what I should be saying, and then kind of retracted it a little bit. And it's not the best thing in the world when you think about a first-time head coach going into his first ever NFL game as, you know, the play caller, as the head coach, as the game planner, as the end-all be-all when it comes to game planning decisions. And of course, we know that there's going to be Howie Roseman input, but we know what the deal is. But let's start it off with this. Let's start it off with the Philadelphia Phillies, because like I said, they just won 4 in a row. They are 3.5 games out. 3.5 games out now because the Braves lost to the Dodgers yesterday. Phillies 3.5 games out of first place in the National League East. Phillies 3 games out of a wild card spot in the National League. Here's where we're at with that. Now, look, I again, as a betting man, I'm not betting for the Phillies to make the playoffs. I'm rooting for them to make the playoffs. I'm not betting on them to make the playoffs. But even if you just have a rooting interest in what this team is doing right now, you can't help but enjoy watching this team win baseball games. And here is what is just amazing in their 7-4 win. 2 things are astonishing in this win. The first thing is Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper has been playing incredible baseball really all season long with the exception of 1 month. And I was going back on this because I was thinking to myself, Bryce is playing incredible ball. We know that. But it doesn't feel like he's been playing at this level all year. And boy, he has not. However, first month of the season, he hit 321. That was through 78 at-bats in the month of April. Then he went down considerably, 110 points, and batted just 211 in the month of May. He was struggling with some injuries that month, if you remember. Power numbers way down, only hit 1 home run, only 57 at-bats in that month of May. Since then, 292, 333. These are month by month, from 211 to 292 to 333 in July to this month in August, hitting 323 with an on-base percentage of 444, slugging 744. Absolutely unreal numbers. And yesterday, in the first inning, got you started with a 2-run home run. Somebody was actually on base. Oh, my God. Somebody was on base for Bryce Harper hitting a home run. Incredible. But Bryce hit his 10th home run of the season. Or excuse me, 10th home run of the month of August. This is exactly what you needed from Bryce Harper. That's the first thing that just jumped out to me about how amazing yesterday's win was. The other thing is that's now 5 straight games where the Phillies have scored 7 runs. 5 straight games where they scored 7 runs. That's the first time they've ever done that in their history. 1883 was the first year of the Phillies for us history majors out there. Well, I wasn't a history major. I minored in history. But anyway, for 2 semesters. There you go. 1883. They go back that far, and it's the first time in their history. Ryan Howard, Chase Utley, Mike Schmidt, Greg Luzinski, Pete Rose, all those guys. No. They had never scored 7 runs in 5 straight ball games. If you would have told me before the season that they were going to do that, and it was the first time they ever did it, right away I'd say, oh, well, Bryce Harper has to be on fire. Rhys Hoskins has to be hitting bombs for you. Odubel Herrera has to be going through one of his incredible hot streaks. And although he's been playing some great baseball as of late in terms of what he's been doing from the plate, especially as a leadoff hitter now, you're looking at this team and you're thinking, oh, all these guys have to be clicking on all cylinders. No, but you got guys like Brad Miller driving in runs for you. You got Ronald Torreyes driving in runs. Freddie Galvis Marchand are driving in runs for you. Rhys Hoskins is hurt. And Rhys Hoskins was, I thought, the final nail in the coffin for this team. They're keeping hope alive for those that are really hoping that they make the play. But not just hoping. I shouldn't say hoping. Those believing that they are a playoff team. Hey, look, this is the first game on the road. Hope they keep winning the games on the road and all that. That's all that fun stuff, right? Let's see if they can keep that going. I still have my doubts that they'll be able to do that. And now they have 14 games left. 14 games left against the National League East between now and the end of the season, and every one of those 14 games is on the road. Phillies, they just got back to, 10 games? 10 games under 500 on the road. So let's hope they turn that around and keep that going if you're really betting on this team to be a postseason team. If you're looking at them to at least give you those meaningful games in September, they're at least giving you those meaningful games in September. Today is August 31st. Tomorrow's September. So meaningful games it is, and you just look at the Dodgers and say, take care of business against the Braves, then give hope a chance for some of these Phillies. I still am not saying they make it. I'm not getting caught up in the moment. I'm simply enjoying this team playing baseball, but realizing that the end-all be-all is probably they're not making the postseason. But here's one thing that I will take away from this. This is the most optimistic thing you'll hear me say about the Phillies. I was criticizing Bryce Harper for the leadership role he plays in the clubhouse. I feel like he takes on a huge leadership role with the front office in terms of going out there and signing guys, making sure they bring in a guy like Zach Wheeler, making sure they re-sign JT Realmuto to keep him here in Philadelphia. All that stuff, I feel like Bryce Harper has a direct line. He's got the bat phone direct to John Middleton's office saying, get guys to stay here in Philadelphia or bring guys in here to Philadelphia. Also, what he was talking about at the trade deadline, that he wants win-now type moves. That's all leadership stuff. But when it comes to necessarily just inside the clubhouse, I think that's where Bryce Harper has fallen short in a lot of aspects. And I think that's where Rhys Hoskins kind of takes over. And I think Bryce kind of would give way to Rhys Hoskins because Rhys is the guy that came up through the system here. He's the career Philly. He's not any type of mercenary, free agent, whatever it might be, that signed here in Philadelphia. He's been up with this club. He's grown up with a lot of the guys on this roster. With Rhys being out, I feel like all that has changed. And I feel like a guy that should be more of that vocal leader is Bryce Harper. And I feel like with Reese out, and even though he's around the team, and JT Realmuto even said this the other day, Reese is still around the team, but they need somebody else to kind of step up and make sure they take those leadership reins. And right now, that's Bryce. He's doing it on the field, and he always does it on the field. He always hustles his ass off on the field all the time. But now the production's there along with it. The power numbers there along with it. I mean, you're talking about a guy who a couple of weeks ago was playing himself into the MVP conversation. And if he somehow magically projects this team into the playoffs with his play being at such a high level, he's going to be a hard guy to ignore for one of the top MVP candidates. Not just a guy who's in the conversation, but one of the top guys if he's able to somehow propel this Phillies team into the postseason. And if he has another month in September like he did in August, it's going to be hard to argue. You're talking about if he has another month like this, that's another 10 home run month. That's a guy hitting 37 home runs, maybe 36 home runs on the season. That's and also hitting over 300, also getting on base around 370. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I mean, just look again from the last couple of months here. 430, or excuse me, that's at home. 436, he's got on base percentage. On the road, 397. That's what he's been able to do for you so far this season. Over the last 2 months, July and August, 452 and 444 on base percentage. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. So, what I might take away from the last 2 months of the season, let's look at the end of September and look at this year and say what you might be able to take away. All right, they didn't make the playoffs, but what can you look forward to next year? This being Bryce Harper's team. That's what you can look forward to for next year. There needed to be, I think, a changing of the guard, and it seems like that change of the guard has happened right now with Reese most likely done for the season, and hopefully you'll be able to keep a guy like Kyle Gibson around here for a while. Zach Wheeler pitching at the level that he's been able to pitch at. And yesterday, Zach Wheeler goes out there, walks 3 consecutive batters in the first inning, somehow gets out of the jam, but settled in nicely, as they like to say after that. His curveball did not have good control of his curveball in the early goings of this game. He ended up walking 4 overall, but like I said, 3 of those were consecutively in the first inning. He was able to settle in nicely, had a couple of dink and dunk runs scored on him, but the Phillies, of course, were able to make up for anything that he didn't have to start out the game, at least. So, look, they're back at it today. They'll go for 5 in a row. Braves again are out there in Los Angeles. We'll see if the Dodgers can take care of business out there. But as of right now, it's good to watch the Phillies play good baseball again. And one thing I was asking for was just get back to the NL East and see what happens. All right, 1-0. 15 of these games, they're 1-0. They got 14 left here, so we'll see how it all shakes out. I do want to ask this question though. Are you buying in again? I think the famous memes you see all the time now on social media is, I'm ready to get hurt again. I'm ready for you to break my heart. And we've talked about it a lot with do I need to do it again? Hold on. Do I still have it? Yeah. Here we go. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in. Ha! All right, that's about as good as Pacino I can give you. I'm sorry. Anyway, so that's where we're at right now with the Phillies. We'll see how it works out. I can't help it. Love Pacino. Let's talk some Eagles football, shall we? We're going to talk a lot of Eagles football. We talk to Hugh Douglas coming up in a second here. But there's a couple of different things I wanted to run through here. Lane Johnson addressed the media yesterday. Landon Dickerson addressed the media yesterday. He was not asked about his overalls. He was asked about singing. Said he gets his singing from the shower, I guess. That's what he said. Miles Sanders addressed the media. Boston Scott addressed the media. Jason Kelsey addressed the media yesterday. Nick Sirianni did not. But now they got this 2-week layoff, more or less, where they got 2 weeks to install a game plan, 2 weeks to get ready, 2 weeks for Gardner Minshew, I guess, to learn the playbook as he's the newly minted Philadelphia Eagle. Yesterday, Miles Sanders talked about Gardner Minshew coming to the locker room for the first time.
Yeah, I met him in the locker room. He came and said what's up to everybody. It looked like he's full of fun. He got good spirit, good vibes. Just introduced myself, and yeah, I'm excited for him to be on this team, and I know he's excited. He looks excited. And it looks like he loves the vibes here.
He loves the vibes here. He loves the vibes. He looks like a good time. He is a good time. Hey, look, charisma. I am not kidding you. Let me just go off on this aside real quick, as I tend to do because my mind kind of works like a Family Guy episode. That's what ADD is. And my dad, all right, to picture my dad looks like Tony Saragusa. All right, that's what my dad looks like. And my dad and he's had three brothers, and the four Farzetta brothers. They love a couple of movies. They love Godfather, shocker. They love My Cousin Vinny, again, shocker. And then they love anything with Pauly Shore in it. Vivid memories of like coming home from practice or whatever, and my dad would be there with his brothers, and there'd be these four dudes just sitting on my parents' sofas when I was in high school, and they would have like My Cousin Vinny on, The Godfather on, or they would have like Son-in-Law. And when I think of the movie Son-in-Law, there's one real line that sticks out in my mind, and that line is charisma. And the Gardner Minshew fella's got that charisma. You know what I'm saying? And he's an easy guy for, I'm sure, a lot of these guys in the locker room to fall for, to want to follow. And I feel like that's going to lead into the hype train in Philadelphia. Because, I mean, this guy took the world by storm when he took over for Nick Foles, when Nick Foles got hurt. His, first game for Jacksonville after he left the Eagles and signed on with Jacksonville as a free agent. This guy took the world by storm because of his mustache, because of his hair, because of his look overall, and he did play rather well. I feel like a lot of people are going to get caught up in that charisma right now, but I urge you, while you're getting caught up in that charisma, to not forget the charisma of a one Jalen Hurts. Because Jalen Hurts has got swagger. Gardner Minshew's got swagger. Jalen Hurts is going to have his opportunity to take this league by storm, very similarly to that of a Carson Wentz from years ago. Remember that? Very similar to a Gardner Minshew, the way he did for Nick Foles 2 years ago. It's not that far off. When you talk about guys with charisma, when you talk about guys that kind of just have that flair of, I could follow this guy, we forget so quickly that when Carson Wentz took over this offense, oh, my God, he's playing like a 10-year vet. Oh, my God, this guy plays like he's been in the league forever. This guy is a real leader of men on the football field. Oh, he's diving headfirst for first downs. He's not afraid to go out there and be a lead blocker on a toss play to the left, right? He did that in the Meadowlands. All that. He's getting his jersey ripped apart by Ryan Kerrigan only to bounce back on the very next play. Like, all that is part of charisma. All that is wanting to follow a guy. Jalen Hurts, it's your turn, man. You're going to have the first crack at it. You're going to have the first opportunity to do it. One thing Hugh gets into in this conversation is just how long that leash is going to be, as I mentioned earlier. Before we do get to Hugh, I do want to hit you with one more thing here. I don't want to say it's a Freudian slip, but I can't help but think it's a Freudian slip. Say one thing, mean another. Or you say something that you didn't mean to say, and then you said it anyway, and you go, I didn't want to say that. Miles Sanders was asked yesterday about Nick Sirianni gearing up for his first regular season game as the Eagles head coach, as a head coach in the NFL, period. And Miles Sanders got asked about that. Here's how he responded when asked about how it's all going leading up to now 2 weeks before the Falcons game.
Well, I mean, he's kind of he's tensing up a little bit. I won't say tensing up, but he's locking a little bit more in. You can tell he's getting more and more intense, and it's just all excitement. All the coaches are excited, just like everybody else. We've been in training camp, a real regular training camp since we didn't have one last year, so it's a little bit different vibe. But now that it's over, like, all right, now these games count. It's time to rock and roll. But everybody's kind of just tightened up a little bit, and it's showtime now.
Are there
all that stuff I just said about a guy you want to follow, a guy you want to, a leader, a guy like Carson Wentz's first year here, even his second year here in Philadelphia, Jalen Hurts for his swagger, Gardner Minshew, all that stuff, the guys you want to follow. You know what you can't follow? A guy who's tense, a guy who's nervous. You can't follow that. And I'm just hoping that was just a little slip of the tongue from Miles Sanders more than anything. The guy who's tense. Here's why this is so worrisome to me. Why it's even on my radar when normally it wouldn't be. is we saw Nick Sirianni look tense and look nervous in his first ever press conference, and I was just getting over that. And then that little slip by Miles Sanders just made me go, wait a minute, hold on a second. Is Nick Sirianni acting like Nick Sirianni from the introductory press conference in front of his players? Like, that's where my mind went in the scariness of scary thoughts of, like, he goes out there and he's trying to conduct a meeting with his offense, with his team, and he's just, every other word is right. And do you love ball? Right. And the whole team's looking at him like, God, we got the Falcons coming up in like 2 weeks. And this guy is a nervous Nelly up there, nervous Nicky up there with the laser pointer. I'm not wishing it into existence. I'm not wishing it into existence. I hope that's just me being uber crazy paranoid. But when Miles Sanders started off with,
well, I mean, he's kind of. He's he's tensing up a little bit. I won't say.
I won't say it, but he said it. I went, no, I'm not going to freak out about it. And then I started freaking out about it the more I thought it. So maybe I'm just over paranoid. Maybe it's being over paranoid. Maybe it's being paranoid. Can you be over paranoid? Super paranoid? I don't know. Anyway, that's what we got for Miles Sanders. Coming up, we're going to let you see some of the fun stuff. One, it's a breakdown from Boston Scott. The other is a breakdown as well from Miles Sanders in terms of, I guess, his new security detail. So we'll talk about that. And then apparently a fake, but not fake, but kind of fake high school team is tied in with an old friend of mine. We'll talk about that coming up in just a minute. But right now, let me tell you about my good friend, Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers. Ladies and gentlemen, go to IHateStevenSinger.com. That's IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. Steven is taking care of everybody with Ready for Love diamond engagement rings. Your beautiful engagement rings. You can go in there right now to Steven Singer Jewelers. You can also go to IHateStevenSinger.com. Use the appointment scheduler to make yourself an appointment and have a real jewelry expert at the ready, standing by to walk you through all the beautiful inventory, tennis bracelets, necklaces, earrings, diamond rings, engagement rings, all that, all right there for you at the amazing Steven Singer Jewelers. And right now, you can also do a lot of great stuff there, especially with the 9/11 Memorial Pendant. See how you can spend $10 right there to help a great cause at IHateStevenSinger.com. Always fast and free shipping at IHateStevenSinger.com. And as always, I have to remind you, don't forget, every day set at the perfect price at Steven Singer with all their beautiful inventory. Every day set at the perfect price. So do what I do. Check out IHateStevenSinger.com, the other corner of 8th and Walnut. Always fast and free shipping. And every day set at the perfect price. Without further ado, on this fine Hugh's Day morning, let's get a little bit more insight on the Birds with our good friend Hugh Lamont Douglas III as he joins us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. And joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line on this happy Hugh's Day morning, Hugh Lamont Black Angus Douglas III. What's up?
What's going on, Marc? How you doing today, man?
I got to start out with an apology. I'm doing fantastic. I trust you're doing just as good. I got to start off with an apology to you because, I'm talking to my mom recently, and she says, you know what you haven't done? You haven't complimented Hugh on his beautiful locks up there on his dome because it's coming in all nice. So let me just lead off by saying, Hugh, you look fantastic.
Hey, you know what, Marc? It was funny because we before we started to tape this, I was just thinking, man, I need to go get a haircut because it started growing a little bit. I got to go get a haircut. Yeah.
All right. Let me ask you this. I will say this. The only time I miss having hair is when I'm reminded of the barbershop. That's the only, because my barber, Al Ritali, who has since passed, was an incredible guy. He was my philosopher, is what he was. And then his partner, Dave, at Dave's Barbershop in Ambler, shout out. It was great just going to see those guys, man. It was a great atmosphere.
Yeah. It's different at the barbershop, man, because they talk about everything and you get a different perspective on everything. And especially when we do what we do, it's a great outlet to go out there and just get your finger on the pulse of the people.
Exactly.
Everybody's talking about. So yeah.
Real people. Yeah. So do you have a barbershop that you're already frequent or what?
Yes, I go to Tone's Barbershop. It's in Atlantic Station. And usually when I go, it's a nice little time. Always have ESPN on watching the 4-letter. So we always talk about sports. So it's a good time. It's a good time down here in Atlanta.
Ooh, I'm sure. Let me ask this. I would go, it'd be like an hour. You know, there'd be like a 20-minute wait, whatever it might be. You're shooting, you know how it goes. And then you're getting your hair cut, and then you hang around for another 10 minutes or so. If you're going to the barbershop, how long is that visit?
You know what? Probably about 30 minutes because like I'm in and out. You know,
okay.
Right now, you get your fix of what's going on during the day. You know, we're getting ready for the Falcons. The big conversation I'm pretty sure is going to be Matt Ryan didn't play. What the hell is going on with the Atlanta Falcons? Why didn't he play? And all of this other stuff. The offense still looks horrible. We still look terrible in the red zone. You know, the basics stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Why didn't Matt Ryan play? Let me ask you that because the Eagles will kick off in Atlanta in 2 weeks. Why didn't Matt Ryan play?
I think he didn't play because they saw enough when they had the joint practices with the Miami Dolphins. So it really wasn't a big deal. They felt like, Matt's going into his 14th season. How much preseason does he need to see at this point in his career?
Right.
So I'm thinking that's what the thought process was going into that.
Okay. Let's talk about that for a second. He's played a nice long career. He's played in the Super Bowl and all that stuff. A nice long career. Jalen Hurts has not had a nice long career. Patrick Mahomes, I was making this point all day yesterday. Patrick Mahomes is a perennial MVP candidate. Already won an MVP. Josh Allen was an MVP candidate last year. He plays in the preseason. But Jalen Hurts, all he needs is apparently 2 series in Philadelphia, and then that's it for the rest of the playoff or rest of the preseason. How does that make any sense?
That's not the case. I don't think that's the case. I know he didn't play the other day, and I think that was because coming off of the sickness that he had, and the fact that you don't want to get your only quarterback at the time that you had on your roster. You don't want to get him hurt. I think that went into it as well. But now you got Gardner Minshew there now. Got Gardner Minshew there. And I could just imagine what the conversation was on sports radio in Philadelphia was today. Him being there, the fact that the Eagles have been real non-committal when it comes to actually naming the starter. If I'm not mistaken, they named him the starter, then they go out and they trade for Gardner Minshew. And being down here in this area, Mark, I can tell you right now, Gardner Minshew he feels that he's a starter.
Oh, yeah.
He definitely feels like he's a starter because when they had Trevor Lawrence, when he's on the team with Trevor Lawrence, he basically said he didn't take a number 2. He didn't poo-poo because he wanted to be the starting quarterback. And you got to look at that and be like, man, that's bold.
Yeah.
For a guy who's on a team where they drafted the number 1 overall pick in the draft to still feel like he got a shot to start. So he's coming to Philadelphia. I would not be surprised if a coach, Nick Sirianni, or someone in the organization told him, you will have a chance. You got a chance to start here. Because you think about it, your agent, you're talking to your agent, and he's probably saying, I want to be traded or I want to go somewhere and I want to play or whatever. What team can I go to where I have a chance to start this year? You're talking about a 2-week hiatus before the season actually starts. Not saying that he's going to be under center when they play the Falcons, but, if he has a good week of work, man, I mean, who knows? Who knows?
All right. So you would say this. You would agree that Jalen Hurts will most likely start this season for the Eagles. However, he'll be on a very short leash with Gardner Minshew coming to Philadelphia.
Very, very short leash. Because think about it like this, Mark. You went out and you got Joe Flacco.
Oh, and real quick, they haven't named him officially the starter yet. No, that hasn't happened. Yeah.
They haven't, but you got Joe Flacco.
Right.
You got Jalen Hurts, and Jalen Hurts has been getting most of the reps, the quality reps. And they said all the right things about him at that position. But damn it, you go out and you trade and get a quarterback. So what does that tell you? I mean, that's common sense right there. That's common sense. You're bringing in somebody because you feel like you can still upgrade at that position. You're bringing them in 2 weeks before the season starts. So you're not that comfortable with them. You're not. I mean, no matter what they say, you can sit here and say, hey, we got depth, we wanted depth, whatever. No, you're not comfortable at that position. You're looking to upgrade. That's just like them bringing in, like, say if I'm the starting defensive end, and they bring in somebody right before the season starts that plays the exact same position that I play. That tells me that they're not that comfortable with the way that I'm playing right now. Or they haven't seen enough. And I think in this case with Jalen Hurts, you hadn't seen enough.
All right, so it's not about depth in your mind, and I don't necessarily disagree with you. I still think that they want Jalen Hurts to take the reins as the starting quarterback of this football team and play for the season. However, with that being said, I think you're right. Short leash, Gardner Minshew's right there in case Jalen Hurts is not at all that guy.
Think about it like this, Mark. When you look at, just say body of work, just let's break it down to the body of work between the two. Gardner Minshew has a more of a repertoire. He has a more archived work.
Oh, 2 years of experience. Jalen Hurts has 4 starts.
Yes. And then on top of that, man, think about Gardner Minshew. When you talk about the charismatic person that he is, I mean, think about it. Perfect fit in Philadelphia.
Oh, yeah.
You know that if Jalen Hurts gets off to a rocky start, which I think that everybody's going to get off to a rocky start. I think Matt Ryan's going to get off to a rocky start. You know, we were talking about that the other day when we were saying that, you know, with the fact that you haven't played a whole lot of preseason games, there's going to be mistakes that are going to be made. But I think with Jalen Hurts, the issue is going to be, you know, especially when you got Gardner Minshew working in there, working in there in the time frame that he's in at 2 weeks before the season starts, that Jalen Hurts is going to be looking over his shoulder, you know, because he knows that Gardner Minshew is there. And Gardner Minshew has made it clear that he wants to be a starter. So that's a tough spot to be in. So if he goes out there and he messes up, you know, he's going to be pulled. He's not going to have the same kind of leash that you would say like a Matt Ryan would have being a 14-year vet if he goes out there and they get off to a slow start offensively. Gotcha.
So let me get into this with you. Well, first off, do you think Minshew, or do you just need to see more from Jalen Hurts? Do you think Minshew will eventually take over the starter's role here in Philadelphia?
I think that let me say this, Mark, because I don't know. I think that his body of work kind of speaks for itself. He has a little bit more experience playing the quarterback position at this level than Jalen Hurts has. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of the reasons why he came to Philadelphia because he felt like he had an opportunity to take the job. Mm-hmm. I'll say that.
I don't disagree. I don't disagree with all that. That's great. Yeah.
I will say that Jalen Hurts is going to he's almost going to have to be perfect, man. I mean, that's unfortunate. He's gonna have to be perfect because he's already, like, when you think about how his preseason has went, he said all the right things, but again, I go back to the conversation. The Eagles have not committed to him. Mm-hmm. They have been hedging the whole time. You heard, like, think about it. You heard over the weekend how a team has pulled out of the Deshaun Watson bidding, a team that was on his heels. Mm-hmm. And we all thought that it was the Philadelphia Eagles. And the reason why they pulled out, because there's too much stuff going on as far as this court case and everything. It's just too much, and the Texans want too much.
And he supposedly doesn't want to come to Philadelphia. It's apparently not on his list.
And now, Gardner Minshew's here. I mean, hello. I mean, you know, the big T, you know, you got to start to read, like, you got to read the tea leaves a little bit. You got to be a little hot takey, Mark. You got to be a little hot takey in this business. You got to be a little hot take.
It's not a hot take if you believe it.
Yeah.
What are we doing for 2 weeks? Well, you got 2 weeks before the season starts. What the hell are we supposed to do right now, Hugh?
Go watch practice. Speculate about what's going to happen. Watch college football. We got a big game coming up this weekend, Clemson and Georgia.
Ooh.
Like that. Jeremiah Trotter Jr. is going to be playing. Shout out to the X-Man son.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What do we call him? Do we call him Hatchet Man because it's a smaller axe? What do we call him?
I don't know. Have you seen Jeremiah Trotter's son lately?
I have not. How big is he?
He's a big ass kid. He's a big. Hey.
He was a prep kid, right?
Yes, he was. So, you know, we're gonna get a chance to talk to Jeremiah Trotter and ask him about his son and see how he's doing. You know, proud papa. So I'm excited about that. Get a chance to talk to my old teammate and being down here in Georgia, get a chance to actually see him play.
Wow,
so that'd be pretty exciting. So
that's awesome.
It's gonna be a good weekend. You know, like for everybody down here, man, this is supposed to be Georgia's year. It's supposed to be Georgia's year. The absolute toughest game on their schedule is against the Clemson Tigers right now.
Wow.
So we'll see how that plays out, and after that, they're going to be favored at every game that they basically play this year.
All right. Wow, that is amazing. I want to ask you about this because I know how we always like kicking it around when it comes to baseball. Braves are still playing some pretty good baseball. They got the series coming up here. It'll start at the time we tape this. It's last night. They'll start the series. As the time we air this, last night they'll start the series with the Dodgers. But one team is completely bowed out of the NL East race, and for the most part, the playoff race.
Mess.
I can't believe. We've had run-ins, fans and athletes in Philadelphia, no doubt. But I have never seen a boo off between players and fans the way we're seeing it go down right now with the New York Mets. As a former athlete, just in general, can you believe what you're seeing right now with the Mets versus the Mets fans?
Yes, I can believe it, Mark, because the good thing about what we do, we get a chance to sit back and we get to see everything as it unravels. And I think that athletes are, I don't want to use the word sensitive, but that's the first word that comes to mind is sensitive. I think they're just in more tune with their feelings, their psyche, and things of that nature. And they're more outspoken. I think that's the word I'm going to go with, more outspoken nowadays. And they're being more vocal about the fact that they don't like to get booed. They don't like to be criticized by the fans the way that they are. And they don't feel like just because they make the kind of money that they make that it's a fan's God-given right to criticize them the way that they do. They just don't feel like that anymore. And now they're actually verbalizing that, and telling people that it's not cool. So that's where we are now. And I think moving forward, Mark, you're going to probably see it's going to be more and more like that as we move forward with this. And you're probably going to see a lot of athletes that are probably going to start taking off personal time because of certain situations that they have going on that they need time to adjust to and deal with.
Wow. I know mental health is at the forefront of everyone's mind nowadays. Yeah. I really can't imagine an athlete in the four major sports saying, I need some time away because fans have gotten to me or because I'm struggling right now and all that, and have the basis of that being getting booed. Yes.
I think it's going to happen, Mark. And I have some feelings about that. I've always been of the mindset, I really don't care about what people think about me and things of that nature. I mean, and then when I think about the fans and, just putting in perspective what people are paying to get tickets to the games and what you pay to have a good time at a ball game or whatever. Because think about it, Mark, family of four. You go to, you already know I'm going with this, though.
Yeah. Oh, my God.
Pick a sporting event in Philadelphia. That's about what, $400 or $500 a night?
Yeah, at least.
And I'm not even talking about tickets. Like, hell, who knows how much the tickets are going to cost alone. Right. So you might be thinking about $1,000 a night. It all depends on what sporting event you're going to. I feel like if you want to boo, as long as you keep it classy, you can boo. I mean, when I first got to Philadelphia, I remember going out after we lost to whomever we lost to my first year in Philadelphia. And people said, don't you need to be somewhere practicing? And it was said in jest, but there was some truth to it. But never did I ever feel any kind of way about it because, what I said then? I was like, well, damn, you know what? They're probably right. and as an athlete, being in Philadelphia, as much as the fans love the teams, you 4-for-4 in Philadelphia, you just knew that if you had a bad game or you went to the grocery store, there's a good chance that little Emma in the grocery store or little Miss Mabel, if she's an Eagles fan, she's going to say something. She's going to say something like, wait a minute, how you guys were horrible Sunday. And that's like, to me, if that's all she does, that's okay with me. That's fine.
Okay.
She didn't put her hands on me. She didn't throw a rotten tomato at me, anything like that. That's a part of the job.
Okay.
So that's how I feel about it.
You and I are on the same page. Anything that's, obviously the over-the-top stuff, and you both know, we know what I'm talking about there. Yeah. That's just out of the stuff that the Utah Jazz fans got in trouble for with Ja Morant. Like, that's insane. I agree with you as far as that goes. I will say this. Have you ever been out and somebody that you totally did not expect would said something to you?
It's been a couple old people. I remember when let me spit it out. I was with Mitch Williams.
Oh, God.
And I remember we were doing an autograph signing or something. And I'll never forget. She was like, hey, Hugh Douglas. And she said, oh, Mitch, you got a lot of nerve coming back to Philadelphia. And, we're old and retired at this point. And so I thought that was funny. I think that, there are some fans that take it to the extreme, the ones that want to get on the email and be Twitter
right.
thugs and things of that nature.
Sure.
Not much. Because let's just be honest, Mark. We know damn well that if most of the fans saw the person that they had to hire for in person, they're going to do one or two things. They're not going to say what you said on Twitter. You're probably going to ask for an autograph. So that right there is a little bit ridiculous. But as far as like booing somebody and saying that you guys stink or anything like that, you just say, hey, either you say you're number one, give them the finger, keep it moving, but don't get. I mean, I don't think that it needs to be something where it festers and it becomes something else that causes a person to have to get, go seek counseling for it. That's my opinion. But I do understand and acknowledge the fact that it's a different time. It is definitely a different time, and people are dealing with a lot of stress. We've been through a lot. And people are dealing with things and handling things a little bit different than we're accustomed to. So we're all adjusting at this point.
I've referenced it to before watching The Last Dance. I think about Dennis Rodman said something in The Last Dance that has really stuck with me. And he said, I play basketball for free. I take the money to put up with the BS that surrounds playing basketball.
Yeah.
Do you think that's kind of what most players are looking at, how they're looking at it?
I don't think so nowadays.
Okay.
I think back in the day, because I think we were groomed a little different. You know what I mean? And think about it like this, Mark. We have something called social media that allows fans access to players that they've never had before.
Sure.
It's one thing to say somebody read a paper and a reporter says something about you in the paper and somebody feels some kind of way about you that lives in Arkansas. But you'll never know what that person in Arkansas said about you because you just won't. But now with social media, they can get on Twitter. They can find your Twitter feed and email you directly. If they want.
Yeah, They can at you.
Yeah. And say whatever they want to say. And then you think about that. You got that person with 10,000 other people saying basically the same thing. You know what I mean? Think about it. You go on Instagram, if somebody does something or says something that nobody likes, just go look at all the negative comments that people have. Now, I do understand that could probably weigh on some people. But at the same time, to put it in perspective, none of those people actually know you.
Right.
And they don't really know the story. They're just going by, they're reacting to something that they've seen or heard.
Sure.
Not knowing the whole story. But for some, that hurts. That hurts tremendously. And they can't, they can't move past when somebody says something negative about it. Even though this person's never met them before in life, don't know anything about them. Some people just can't move past that. So yeah, I understand that. And I understand that could be a weight on a lot of people. And I can also say that that's something that I've never really had to deal with. I've dealt with that more in the last couple of years because I'm on social media than any other time. But what I do, I do one or two things. My block button on Twitter is mean. I got a block game. Or I put Twitter down. I just unplug. I mean, because if it gets to the point where it's too much negativity, I just put the phone down. I mean, that's how I look at it. Just put the phone down, don't read the paper, don't care what anybody else says, and just live my life. But I guess for some people that it's different because their whole world or their whole social, being evolves around social media.
Yeah. They want to know how much they're living rent-free in other people's minds, basically.
Yeah. That's a great analogy.
What's the hot topic on 92 game? Is it 92.9 the game? Is it Georgia football, I assume, right now?
Well, it's Georgia football, and it's the fact that, the Falcons didn't play Matt Ryan. And Kyle Pitts only got one pass for 27 yards. So now, come on, man, you know how it is. We're getting ready. We got a week before football season starts.
Sure. Oh, yeah.
And we're trying to get down to the 53-man roster. Hopefully, by the time this show airs, everybody's down to their 53-man roster. So we're going to have that. And then everybody just wrapping up for fantasy football. That's the biggest thing right now.
Okay.
Fantasy football and having fantasy football drafts, because we didn't have any last year.
Right. Yeah, right, yeah.
We didn't have fantasy football drafts last year. So people that are feeling a little bit comfortable, we're having, a fantasy football draft. So that's pretty big. I'll
tell you right now, I had a fantasy football draft last year.
You did?
We did fantasy football last year. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? You're what they call a trooper. we usually do one every year. We didn't have it last year. We did not have one last year.
No, I just did mine. My actual one for this year. I just did it 2 nights ago. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I got Kyle Pitts on my squad. So
You do?
it's one guy I'll be rooting for.
I think he's going to have a hell of a season.
He went to my high school. No big deal. We didn't know each other, but whatever.
Yeah.
No.
Philly kid.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Let me ask you this, right? Before we talk more about the Falcons Eagles kicking off next week, let me just ask you this. What are you looking at right now? When you see the Falcons, what do you see for a win total on their season? In the 2-week early to ask, just season preview, what do you expect from the Falcons this year?
What is it? It's 17 games, right? So
17 games.
Let me get my math right.
Yeah, how many wins?
What's that? What, 9 and 8?
Yeah, it could be 9 and 8. You could be 9 and 8. Yeah, 17.
Doing the math in my head, I'm trying to remember 17. Like, take care of the one.
10 and 7.
Yeah. So I'm thinking potentially a playoff berth. I'm thinking that, because I think this defense is going to be much better. I think that they're playing, like, from what I've been able to see, because the starters haven't really played that much. They're trying to play on the other side of the ball. Dean Pease has been bringing a lot of blitzes. This is something that the Falcons really didn't do a whole lot last year. They didn't blitz a whole lot last year. I think the running game, even though they haven't showed a whole lot, they've shown glimpses of being pretty decent. So I give them 9 and 8. I give them 9 and 8 this year.
And finally, it became known after their third and final preseason game that the Eagles hired somebody to be a consultant, an offensive consultant, Jim Bob Cooter.
That name sounds Jim Bob Cooter. Wait a minute, where was Jim Bob Cooter at before? Wasn't he in college?
He was in college. Then he was at the Detroit Lions as an offensive coordinator on a team that took it to the Eagles on Thanksgiving. And then he was with he was the Jets last year, I think, as a running backs coach.
Jim Bob Cooter. That's a hell of a name, boy. Jim Bob Cooter.
James Robert Cooter.
I automatically think he cooked the hell out of some catfish. Cook the hell out of some catfish and make his own moonshine. Can you imagine?
Yeah. That guy's wrestled an alligator.
Hey, listen, I didn't just stereotype Jim Bob, didn't I?
No, absolutely not. What are you kidding me?
Just made him. He's a moonshine. He got moonshiners in his family and all that, huh?
It's in the bathtub right now. Ladies and gentlemen, this beautifully hairy fella, his name is Hugh Lamont Douglas III, and this is a Hugh's Day. Hugh, thank you so much.
Not a problem, Mark. Anytime, brother. Anytime.
We'll talk to you next week. Plenty of Eagles-Falcons conversation, obviously, as they'll kick off the season at the end of next week. Hugh, thanks, brother. Appreciate you.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. Peace.
Peace. Hugh Douglas joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. What, am I going to not ask Hugh Douglas about Jim Bob Cooter? Like, you didn't think you would have the answers like that? Cook the hell out of some catfish. Of the many things I filmed when I was in Colorado, what I did not film was me eating some incredible catfish. Like ridiculously delicious catfish. It was really good. It was this barbecue place, Southern barbecue place that was in Denver. They actually did a pretty good job. Fort Collins. It was at Fort Collins. So there you go. So my thanks to Hugh for jumping on and talking with us. Let me tell you about our good friends at Rothman Orthopaedics, who bring us our fine guest line every single day. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman Orthopaedics physician. They not only specialize in orthopedics, but each of their physicians only focuses on one area of the body, which means you can have the confidence to get past the pain and be what you were. Visit them in one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including their orthopedic-only urgent cares. 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. 4 of them. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. And about Steak and Maine, they actually closed for a couple of days. Now they're back and they're ready to go for you. Ready, a little vacation time there. Steak and Maine, fine dining in the heart of Northeast Maryland. Whether you like to dine in a more upscale steakhouse or casual bar and patio, you'll enjoy the highest quality of prime meats, fresh seafood, world-class oyster bar, and freshly prepared sushi. All that with an extensive wine list, including their own Cavada Cellars wines. Open every day for lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch as well. Steak and Maine in Northeast Maryland, voted #1 place for steaks in America by the Travel Channel and Cooking Channel. Check it out for yourself at steakandmaine.com for more information. Also, make sure you're following all the stories. Like, for instance, today, cut down day. Got to get down to 53 players. So they got decisions to make. Well, 50 when you figure, the quarterback room, and the kicker, and, a bunch of others. But anyway, Cut down day. Make sure you're following all that's going on with the Eagles with PHLSportsNation.com. That's Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience. Now it's time to everyone's favorite part of the show, our social media check-in brought to you by Steak and Maine and steakandmaine.com. Let's start it off. Mally leads us off right here, just saying good morning. Mally, you are correct. We got started late today, about 5 minutes late, because of a little internet issue there. Mally says it's 6:02. Still a no-show. Must be a great bong hit going on. You, Mally. Marc was up late celebrating the Phillies. Dak, NJ. What's up, Dak? I wish that was the case. It is not the case. Because, here's the thing. You go through a prediction and you try to be real with people, but I'm still a fan. I grew up in this area. I grew up in Doylestown, originally from Ambler. And I'm still a fan. I still want them to win, and then I end up rooting against myself. That's why, it's in particular, football season sucks. Because I'll make a prediction, and then I end up still having some loyalty to my prediction as opposed to the team. So I'll be like, well, I picked them to win, or I picked them to lose. That's the worst, when you pick them to lose, and then they look like they're going to win. It's like, yay, but damn it, I'm an idiot. But yay, they're going to win, but I'm still an idiot. I guess I just have to accept that I'm an idiot either way. Jack's checking in. What's going on, Jack? Mally, Sealski, hack the stream again. Jack, you got to keep an eye on him, man. Thomas, what's up, man? How you doing? April, happy Hughes Day. Here I thought I was running late. No, you're not running late. I was running late. No, I wasn't running late. I was here on time. Internet was running late. Damn technology. Happy Hughes Day. No, you good, April. Marc just had stoner time. Bless your heart, Mally. Dante, what's up, Dante? Saying hi to Hugh. T-Bro, what's up, T-Bro? Happy Hughes Day, my good people. Happy Hughes Day to you, T-Bro. Mally, my guy shall not be named, is on the IR again. Is that redhead fella? Because, yeah, he's on the COVID protocol list. And 3 other members of the Colts, or excuse me, he was among 3 members of the Colts that were put on COVID protocol. We'll see what happens for their week 1 start time. That'll be just great. Where are the Red Hots? T-Bro? Red Hots? I'll take some Red Hots. Adrian's checking in. What's up, Adrian? Damn, comparing the Phillies to the Braves home attendance, Philly has some weak-ass fans. Huh? I don't get it. Jack's back. What's up, Jack? This guy. What's up, Mally? Gonna be on this season. I know Dante, right? What? Oh, Adrian and Dante are gonna fight or something. Okay. Hey, maybe we'll do a little boxing match with you guys in the crowd there. Apparently, you can make a lot of money doing that if you haven't seen, if you haven't read the papers. That shirt gets brighter and brighter ever since Emo Marc was mentioned. Broads is checking in. What's up, Broads? Dak, Marc, calm down. Phillies are a 500 team. I'm calm, but they're just playing. They're winning. Bryce Harper's playing like an MVP. I can enjoy that. Now, I'd be carried away if I reversed course and said they're not making the reverse course and said they are going to make the playoffs. They're not making the playoffs. So just say that. April saying they're perfectly mediocre. Adrian's back. I think more hit batters have scored this season than any other. I don't know if you're far off from there. Just watch the guy try to beat someone with a broom. Beautiful scenery in Kensington. Stay safe, Dan. Stay safe. Bryce definitely getting paid enough money to be the locker room leader. Yeah, April, I agree. It can be a weird thing, I think, in any workplace, even if you're supposed to be the heavy hitter coming in. If you're the new guy and somebody's been there for a long time and the players in that organization love that guy, that a lot of people in the organization really look up to him, and Rhys Hoskins is that guy. I want Bryce to kind of be the guy and come in and be more of the lead by example type guy, which we have talked about for a long time. Matt Breen was on with us last week talking about how he's the lead by example guy. Rhys is the sage, the guy to say something in the locker room to get guys going and kind of get the wheels turning in that regard. And for whatever reason, Bryce hasn't been that guy. And I feel like without Rhys really being in that role right now, because he's hurt, he's getting surgery, I feel like Bryce is just becoming that guy. And I feel like this is the perfect time to make that transition. Music box. Yes. I apologized for mansplaining the music box. I wasn't so much mansplaining the music box. It was more so mansplaining where I got the music box. Because it was like an Instagram ad that my brother saw and got it for me. So, me scusi if it came off as mansplaining. Now I'm going to feel guilty about it. Rest of the day. Adrian, hurdy-gurdy. All right. Mally, oh, yeah, Music Box is back. That was some good weed. Mally, come on, man. Mally, I'm starting to think that you just really enjoy a ganj. I feel like you're projecting. Breaking news, Eagles will play starters at least one half in week 1. Thank you, Dan. Wait, did Marc have a barber? Yes, I had a barber, and he was a great man. He was just that. He was my philosopher, Al Ritali. Al Ritali, he was, I knew him as Big Al. And actually, because I was originally from Ambler, got my first haircut in Ambler, and as you would assume, originally from there, then grew up in Doylestown. But I started going back because we moved around a bunch as a kid. But anyway, not to give you my whole life story. Anyway, I ended up going back to Temple Ambler for 2 years, my first 2 years at Temple, because it was my old neighborhood. I wanted to, see family and stuff and go to college at the same time. So I went into this barbershop, and I'm looking at this guy. I'm like, I bet you that's Al. And sure, because I was like 4 when I got my hair cut there for the last time. And I go back as like an 18, 19-year-old kid, and we start up a friendship again. He was a friend of the family and everything. Great guy. Miss him dearly. He's got a great family and just a good man. And barbershops are just great places in general. Dave's still doing a great job running the shop there. Matt Ryan don't need no stinking preseason. Adrian, I agree with you. You know who does need stinking preseason? Jalen Hurts. Who hasn't really played. I don't even think the Eagles know what they want. You're not far off, April. You're not far off. Come on. There we go. Mally's saying, I love it every day, Marc. Good for you, Mally. Good for you. Marc says I'm calm while screaming. Christopher's in. What's up, Christopher? Nice to have you along. Did you get a degree from CCP in Gator wrestling, Marc? No, I didn't get my degree from CCP. I got my degree from an actual Gator wrestler. All right. It was the little town, maybe you've heard of it, called Atlantic City. And I was at the boat show, and they had a guy there wrestling alligators, right? So he showed you how to wrestle an alligator. And let me just give you a little life-saving tip, folks. I'll give you a little life-saving tip. If you ever come cross paths with a gator, all right, here's how you do this. First off, crocodiles are not in America, except maybe in a zoo. Alligators are in America. Crocodiles are in Africa or whatever. So here's the deal. If you ever come across with a gator, say you're on a golf course in Florida or something, there's a gator between you and your ball, you go behind the gator, you grab it by its tail, and you pull the gator away. That's how you do that. Just that easy. According to the guy that did it professionally, according to the guy who I immediately YouTubed when I got home, and I looked at the video of him getting bit by a gator, trying that same tactic. So maybe don't do it. But I'm just saying, if you got to, that's the way you're supposed to do it. From behind, grab the tail, pull, and you can hit your golf ball. And now you know, and knowing is half the battle. G.I. Joe. Anyway, April, someone is going to die from that advice. I'm sorry. Dan, if you're ever in Kensington and you see somebody get hit by a broom, go up behind that person, pull them by the tail, and then they won't hit you with the broom. See that? There you go. There you go. The Italian whisper is saying, I'm calm, while being calm, or saying I'm calm while yelling. I always find that really, really funny. Just calm down. I'm calm. Anyway, thanks everyone that checked in on our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Made at steakandmade.com. You guys are the absolute best, as per usual. Shane, we definitely need a video of Handlebar Stash Marc wrestling a gator. Maybe. I'll tell you what. If that Gardner Minshew guy becomes the starter by week 5, all right, I'll for play purposes, not Jalen Hurts is hurt. I'll go find me a gator and I'll wrestle that gator. Anyway, pull the crackhead by the tail. April, bless you. Bless you so much. Thanks for everyone that checked in our social media check-in, brought to you by Steak and Made at steakandmade.com. Let's get into our morning rush, brought to you by Sky Motorcars at skymotorcars.com. I don't know what this is, but please, by all means, follow this. Apparently, Miles Sanders had a security guard while he was doing his media session with the people that weren't even in the room, the media members that were on a Zoom conference call. Apparently, Boston Scott was playing the role of security detail.
Hey, Miles and Boston. Miles, I remember last year you were maybe one of the first guys to really kind of speak up about Jalen and how mature you thought he was, and how he didn't allow much to affect him. And I'm wondering if there was something about Jalen last year during that whole, as crazy as things were, having to take over, and obviously with the pandemic and not really kind of being able to be around other people for a point. Is there anything in particular you recall from that period that made you think that, well, Jalen will be able to face really any obstacle and overcome it?
Yeah, I think I said it before. I'm okay to say this? I think I said it before. He's just real poised, and like he's very like even Steven, like I've always said, and everybody can pretty much say the same thing about him. He's very confident in himself, and he's more really confident in the people that's around him too. So he doesn't just hold himself to a high standard. He holds everybody else to a high standard. But during that whole 4-game stretch, like I said, he was real poised, and he didn't really care what anybody or out there was saying about the team or him or Carson or whatever was going on at that point. He was just making sure he was trying to do whatever he can to help us win those last 4 games.
2-6 is good. Going on recon.
I bet.
Are there any more questions?
I don't know what that was, but a lot of credit to Boston Scott for keeping the straight face the entire time. I don't know what that was, but I want to see more of it for some dumb reason. This team drips, as the kids would say, with all the swag in the world. Now, this is before the season starts, so they can do that. They can just have fun, and that seems to be what they're doing right now. And Gardner Minshew, I think, will add to that fun. Here's the other thing. Boston Scott, when he did address the media for his own press conference, he was asked about the 49-yard touchdown reception that he got from Joe Flacco against the Jets. And he had said that they had dialed up that play before, but he messed it up. And listen to how he breaks down this play for the good people that want to know.
Well, I'll actually take it back even further. And it's just, kudos to Coach Sirianni and Coach Jamal and Coach Shane, because I actually, in the previous preseason game, I actually busted on that same route. My path was off just by maybe a yard or so, and I wasn't able to get the ball. And so they corrected it, and Coach Nick has always just been real detail-oriented about the details and the fundamentals, and at this level, it's all about inches, you know what I mean? And so literally it made the difference between not getting the ball at all and scoring a touchdown.
That is a phenomenal breakdown of that play, and he's talking about how precise you have to be on a certain route. He's just running that little out-of-the-backfield route, not even a wheel route, really. But he's running out of the backfield, catches that ball on the flat, and takes it the rest of the way, beats 2 defenders, jukes one out of his jockstrap, and takes it all the way 49 yards for the touchdown. But they dialed up that play again for him so he'd have an opportunity to run it again, and this time executed properly. And boy, did he. And boy, did he. Phillies back in action tonight. They'll go for their 5th win in a row. Fingers crossed that they win that game. I'm still rooting for them. I'm just not betting on them, as I've said many, many times before. They close out the month of August tonight with Matt Moore on the hill and Patrick Corbin going for the left-handed pitcher for the Nationals. So we'll see how that game goes tonight. We'll close 7:05 start time. I will close with this story that is just bonkers and tailor-made for the morning rush. Hugh and I were actually talking about this before I hit record. IMG, where Trey Thomas is a coach on the staff, took on some fraudulent high school that was on ESPN the other night. They actually played at the Tom Benson football field in Canton, Ohio, where they play the Hall of Fame game. And ESPN televised this game, and I'm getting this from Yahoo, some of the facts and figures from Yahoo. But they played against this Bishop Sycamore out of Ohio, who is, they were regarded, quote unquote, as a Division I team that were playing against, or multiple Division I prospects that were playing against IMG. IMG, for those that don't know where Trey is right now, is powerhouse of powerhouse. It is more of a minor league college football team than it is a high school team. You know what I'm saying? They grew, I was reading somewhere, they got already like a dozen active athletes right now in the NFL, and they got even more obviously playing at college level next year. So that's where you go. If you're going to be a stud athlete, you're going to IMG Academy. That's where you're going. Forget math, forget reading, forget arithmetic. You're going to learn a route tree, basically, all right? So that's where you go for if you're going to be a dominant athlete. So they play against this Bishop Sycamore team, and they win something crazy like 50-0. Like, they just blow them out of the water. And as this game is unfolding, the people on ESPN start to really pick apart Bishop Sycamore, saying, this is crazy that they're beating this team like this. Bishop Sycamore apparently has no top-ranked prospects, even though ESPN was told that they had a bevy of top-ranked prospects, that they had a bevy of guys getting ready to go to Division I next year. They get blown out by IMG Academy. There's all sorts of crazy other speculation that goes on here. Basically, ESPN got duped big time. The company that tells ESPN which high school sport to televise or which high school game to televise, they got duped on top of it. Multiple other investigations happen by just Google searches by different publications, and they find out Bishop Sycamore not only they haven't won a game on the season, but they actually lost 2 games on the season, including a game that they played the previous 2 days prior. They played on Friday, and then they played on Sunday again at Tom Benson Stadium. So basically, IMG beats the crap out of them 58-0. The announcers themselves are questioning why this game's even on. They're questioning how safe this is. They're doing their own research while they're on the air, basically, and saying how this is just an atrocity and dangerous for the young kids playing. And it turns out most of these guys aren't even high school kids necessarily. They're junior college transfers or JUCO kids, for instance. It is a crazy story. If you get a chance to watch some highlights of it, make sure you do so. But they ended up losing 58-0, which is what prompted some more questions, to say the absolute least. Bishop Sycamore, according to a lot of the announcements here, ESPN saying Bishop Sycamore lied about its football team so they could get on TV. Oh, and the other thing is, supposedly their head coach has a warrant out for his arrest. So that's a good time. What a story. What a time to be alive. Paragon Marketing Group is the marketing group, by the way, that's responsible for telling ESPN who their matchup should be. And they're trying to make sure they don't have a repeat of what they saw on Sunday. So, interesting story if you want to read up on that, but it is just nothing short of bonkers, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening today. Thanks for commenting. Also, make sure you hit subscribe as per usual on our YouTube page. We're just under 1,200 subscribers now, so that's cool. Thanks for everyone that has subscribed. Much appreciated. We'll be back with you guys tomorrow. We're going to have a great guest for you tomorrow. Great guest with you Friday. We have Ross Tucker will be joining the show on Friday. So I'll let you guys know that right out of the gate right there. We're going to have Ross Tucker on Friday to break down everything he saw in the preseason, as well as Gardner Minshew coming to Philadelphia. And we'll review some of the cuts, as today is cut down day once again. 4 p.m. today. The Eagles have to be down to their final roster, final 53 for the 53-man roster. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hit subscribe on Twitch, on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts as well. Producer Jim Hyder produced the program. This is a Buzz Sports and Entertainment production. I'm Marc Farzy. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy, and good luck to all the Eagles on the roster right now, and hopefully they stick around by 4 p.m. today. Have a great day, everybody. Take it easy.